Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome me back in the topic friction. I know it's a very small and simple topic and the same similar concept we have got throughout the topic. Considering all that, and I hope you all have watched the first and second video. Second video was a very small as accidentally I could switch off the screen recording app. I have to make another video, but it was just one video of 1 hour. The topic is done, isn't it? And you all have understood what the friction is, right? And how it is acting. At the same time, advantages, disadvantages, and everything. So many different things we have learned in the topic. So now let us know the exercise what we have. So let's say the first question, which is fill in the blanks. Friction opposes the dash between the surface in the dashes between the surfaces in contact with each other. Friction opposes what it opposes the motion, right? Friction opposes the motion between the surfaces which are in contact. Friction depend on dash of the surface, nature of the surface, right? Friction produces heat, है ना? Friction produce heat. Sprinkling of powder on the carom board reduces the friction. Sliding friction is less than the static friction. Static friction is highest, as you know. Sliding friction is lower and rolling friction is lowest. Just a minute, I think here we have the second question. Four children were asked to arrange the forces due to rolling, static, and sliding friction in a decreasing order. Decreasing order means the highest is first, then the lower. So highest is static, then is sliding, and then is rolling. So C is the correct one. Highest is static. But other things I don't have to read even, right? Highest is static, then sliding, and then rolling. That's it. Next one. Alida runs her toy car on dry marble floor, wet marble floor, newspaper, and a towel spread on the floor. Okay, and the force of friction acting on the car on a different surfaces is in the increasing order, and that will be increasing order. I want the force of friction in increasing order. That means lowest at the first. So lowest will be in the on the wet marble. It's very clear, wet marble. So either the answer is this or this. The wet marble, then dry marble. It's a correct. Then न्यूज़पेपर एंड देन द टॉयल. ओके, टॉयल का the जो force of friction है that will be highest. Considering that the A is the correct one. Okay, so the next one we will go for. Suppose you are writing, desk is tilted a little and a book is kept on it starts sliding down. Show the direction of the frictional force acting on it. You have to just show that. So here is the tilted desk, we can say, and here is the book. So you have to show what direction of the frictional force acting on it. The direction, the book is coming down, right? So the friction force is going up. Okay, so this is the direction of friction. So you can write here as friction, draw a proper diagram, and here you can write motion and friction. Okay, easy. Fourth question is done. You spill a bucket of soapy water on a marble floor accidentally. Fine. Would it make it easier or more difficult for you to walk on the floor, and why? Rather, it would be very difficult to walk on the floor because the friction will be reduced. When we walk, I have already explained that in the slide. You can check that in the PPT. When we walk, we push the floor behind. If the marble or if the floor is soapy, if the floor is slippy, then we cannot properly push the floor backward, and accordingly we cannot move ahead. We might slip. Therefore, it is difficult to walk on a marble floor where the soapy water is falling on or slip or spilled on. Very clear, very clear. So basically, less friction you have to mention. That's a one point. And second point, what you have to mention is nothing but when we move ahead or when we walk, we are actually basically pushing the ground behind, right? And that would become pushing the ground behind would be difficult if the floor is slippy. That's it. Okay, base friction is less. So fifth is done. Explain why sportsman uses shoe with the spikes. A sportsman uses a shoe with the spikes to increase the grip and friction. Right? Grip matlab friction. So increase the grip of a shoe. They need spikes on their shoes so that they can easily run on the ground with a larger grip or larger friction. Iqbal has to push a lighter box and Seema has to push a similar heavier box on the same floor. Who will have to apply larger force and why? I think Seema will have to apply larger force because she is applying uh, force on the heavier box, because the friction force uh, that the box and the ground and the floor will have will be higher if the weight is more or if they are pressed harder. I hope you know that. So friction is depend on the weight of the object or how hard the two objects are pressed. So when Seema is pushing, her box will have larger friction by the ground because that box and the ground will be pressed harder. Therefore, Seema has to put larger force than the Iqbal. Explain why sliding friction is less than the static friction. ये बहुत interesting सा question है. Why static friction is more? Static friction, when the object is stable, object is at the rest, the surfaces get enough time to interlink with each other or interlock with each other. But when the object is moving, object is in the motion, the surfaces won't get enough time to get interlock, and accordingly the frictional force will be lesser. So it's a simple idea, let me tell you. The time, it won't get sufficient time to get interlock between the surfaces. That's it. So very simple. Give example to show that the friction is both a friend and a foe. That means you have to, advantages and disadvantages of friction. It is there in the PPT. You can easily observe it. Few examples you can write where the friction is required and where friction is not required. That's it. Explain why the object moving in the fluid must have a special shape, that streamlined shape, as we know. Uh, the drag, or what we call it as fluid pressure, right? The drag or fluid friction acting on the object is depend on the shape of the object. First point. If the shape of the object is streamlined, the drag or the fluid friction will be minimum. That's the reason the objects which are moving in the fluid must have a spatial shape. That's it. So very simple. Do we have any other? It's done. That's it. Okay. So friction, as we all got to know, a very simple topic. So done. I think in 10 minutes we completed the exercise itself. But I know it would take time to write it down. So I'm expecting that from you and send it to me today. Today or maybe by tomorrow. If you couldn't able to do it today, tomorrow, by tomorrow, I want your exercise to be done. ठीक है? So thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye. See you.